हमें भी लग रहा है मैथ्स तो इजी कर लेंगे. Okay, so now today I discuss few questions. All the questions are going to help me. All the questions I gave you in homework, right? So, and all these questions, we can consider that the level of the questions is slightly above than the more than the board level, and it's up to JEE level. Still, the questions are easy only. So, if you see the first question, right? So, in first question, let the 3-digit number. We are given 3 numbers of 3 digits, right? And then A, B, C are integers. Find between 0 and 9. And it is given that all these 3 numbers, not all these 3 numbers, A, B, and C are divisible by a fixed integer k, right? A, B, and C are divisible by a fixed integer k. Then need to prove that the determinant is also divisible by k. हाँ हाँ बिल्कुल. Now, if you see अब इतना बहुत टफ लग रहा होगा क्या दे दिया ये समझ नहीं आ रहा. ठीक है. अच्छा, क्लास क्वाइट नाउ. First thing, you know what is this A to 8 means? 8. What is the meaning of A to 8? A to 8 means it's like that if I'm writing 128, it's a 3-digit number where A is some digit from 0 to 9. From 0 to 9, right? So like 128. And I hope that all of you know how to write down a number in expanded form. You know it, right? It was in which grade? 5th grade. Fourth or 5th grade, right? And so how we have tried expanded this one. So it's like 100 place, 10's place, and units 1's place. So how we write it? Instead of writing 1 year, let's start taking 3 to 8. 3 to 8, right? So 3 to 8 in expanded form, how we can write? 3, because in that 100 place, so 3 multiplied by 100 plus 2, 10 place, so 10, and plus 8 will be 8 into 1. And now if you just add all these things, again we are going to get 328. You know it, right? So similarly, now tell me how we can write 828 in expanded form. A into 100, so 100 A plus 2 into 10, so 20 plus 8. Anyone other doubt in this? Similarly, second number is B 3B9. 3B9, how we can write? 3B9. 300. Neeraj. आप बताओ एक्सपेक्ट करने 2 मिनट में ऐसे कैसे कर व्हाट हैपेंड. Tell me, you tell me how we are going to write 3 to 300. 3 to 100, so that is going to be 300 plus 2B. Rishit and Pranav. 300 plus B into 10. B into 10, correct. So it will be 10B and plus 9. Rishit, tell me how we can write in expanded form. Yeah. क्या सुन नहीं रहा है ना. What's the name? Shan. It's like 6 into 100 plus okay. So 6 into 100 will be 600, right? Plus 20 plus C, right? Achha, what else is given in question? If you read that, it is given that the number, all these 3 numbers are divisible by a fixed integer k. So k is an integer and they are divisible by k. So whenever, if any number, I hope you know it, right? Euclid's division lemma, that if a number is divisible by, let's say, if we are given 30, and we are saying 30 is divisible by what? 15 or 5. So how we can write this as? We can write in terms of 5 also we can write it, right? Like 5 into k or 5 into 6 basically. What is the value of k here? It will be 6. So in this format we can write it now. So similarly, we know that A28, it's a 3-digit number which is divisible by k. So in terms of k, how I can write it? There will be some integer n1 multiplied by k. N1 multiplied by k, 30. Sorry. Samna. Let's say 30 and 30 is divisible by 5, right? So we can write like this, na 5 into multiplied by some integer, that is 6. 5 into 6 is what? 30. Now this whole thing can I write like this, that 30 is also equal to n multiplied by 6, where n is some integer. We can write it now. Yes or no? Acha, or this whole thing can I write like this also, 30 equals 5 multiplied by k, where k is some integer. Now we know the value of k. K will be 6 here. We know the value of n here. N will be 5. So the same thing here also, because this number is divisible by k. So can I write in terms of k this number? Can I write in terms of k? Yes. But k should be multiplied with some integer. And that integer we are saying that is n1. N1. Understood? Anyone has any doubt about this? So second number 3b9. 3b9, how we can write? And to some integer multiplied by k. Understood now? समझ में आ रहा नहीं आ रहा? And similarly, third number 6 to c is multiplied by we can say n3k. Now if you see the determinant, right? In determinant, what is given to us? A36 in first row, 89C in second row, and 2B2 in third row. Yes or no? Yes. Yes. Now I want to prove that this whole thing will be simplified, right? Then it is divisible by k. It means what? That if I'll simplify this whole thing, I'll get k into something. Means k should be factor of this, na? Yes. After simplification, we are getting a number. Yes. Then k should be factor of that number. It means that number is divisible by k. Understood? So now I just want to convert all these integers like a, b, and c in terms of k. In terms of k. Okay, and then I'll try to take k outside. Or if k is common in all the elements of any row or any column, then we can take k outside. Let's suppose this whole thing, if I'm getting something like this, for example, let's say 1, 2, 3, and then 8k, 9k, and then 5k, 2, 4, and 2, something like this. Let's suppose. So I know that from second row, I can take common, k taking outside, we are left with 1, 2, 3, and all these numbers. Now clearly, as you can say, whatever the value of this number is, we are having k common. It means this number, this whole thing is divisible by k. Understood? So all we need to show is that if we simplify this one in that. Understood? Take it. Now if you see, property no na. This property is this. Second of third property. Fourth property, I think. Yeah. Take over the right side. What? Correct. 3b 9, so at 9, right? Now why we are discussing all these things? Because that's how we need to convert the value of ABC in expanded form. And then whenever if I get this whole thing in any, for any element, if I'm getting this whole thing. So this whole thing, how can I write? This whole thing I can write as N1k in terms of N1k. Yes or no? Yeah. Understood what I'm doing here? Yes. That because we know A28 is divisible by k, so we can write N1k. So A21 is equal to N1k. And this whole number is also equal to A28, and A28 is equal to N1k. Okay, अब देखना कैसे करेंगे. Now if you just think about the determinant, right? So in, let's say row 2, I'm using this elementary operation. What is that? That row 2 plus 100 multiplied by row 1 plus what else is there? 10 multiplied by row 3. And if you are taking 10 multiplied by row 3, it means 20. 10 भी correct. 10 multiplied by row 3. पहले समझो क्या करना उसके बाद समझ में आ जाएगा कैसे किया. ठीक है. So now we are using this operation in this increment, right? So what we are going to get in first row, there is no change. It will be same. It is like 8, 3, and 6. Now we are using operation in second row. So the elements of second row are going to be changed, right? So in place of this element 8, what we will write? R2, 8 will be there, plus 100 times of R1. So in R1, the element is 8. 100 times of 8 will be 100 plus 10 times of R3. 10 times of R3 means 2 into 10, 20. So this element will get here 8 plus, or let me just here in the term, so it will be 108 plus 20. Wait. 28 it is fine. Plus 20 and plus 8. That's all. What is it? One element. This is only one element, because we are just changing R2. So the whole thing we are going to be using first element. Now the same thing we'll do for the second element. Now in second element of R2 is 9. So now we will go for 9. So according to this operation, R2 element as it is 9 plus 100 times of R1, that is 300, and plus 10 times of R3, and R3 is B, so 10B. Understood? So now what we get here, if you see, so what we get, if you rearrange the terms, so we get 300 plus 10B plus 9. And it is 6 here, so let it write you. And then third element of R. So guys, can you tell me now third element of R2? What's the third element of R2? Third element of R2 C plus 100 times of 6 plus 100 plus 20. समझ नहीं आ रहा. अरे देखो जैसे सिंपली पहले देखो क्लास everyone you got here. So let's suppose इतना होगा मेरे को बात. Let's suppose for this ना if we are using this elementary operation R1 plus R2. ठीक है. इसका मतलब समझ में आता है क्या है? This is seventh property, transformation of determinant of matrix also, and it is what you can say elementary operations we are using. इसका मतलब क्या? इसका मतलब ये है कि we need to make some changes in which in what in row 1. तो row 1 में कुछ changes कर लिया, right? चेंज क्या करना है? चेंज ये करना है कि रो 1 का जो एलिमेंट है, इधर देखो ना, करके देखो, रो 1 का जो एलिमेंट है उसी एलिमेंट में उसका जो उसमें ना रो 2 का एलिमेंट जो करस्पॉन्डिंग एलिमेंट होगा उसको ऐड करके फिर लिखो. तो अब तुम मुझे बता दो, इसी के लिए बता दो कि मतलब हाउ वी हैव टू चेंज दिस होल थिंग. जैसे रो 1 में यूज कर रहा ऑपरेशन क्या है कि इस एलिमेंट में ये और ऐड कर दो. तो व्हाट वी आर गेटिंग एट द फर्स्ट प्लेस a plus 8. बस इतना सा कर पड़ेगा a plus 8. Then second element क्या है 3 plus 9 that is 12. Then 6 plus c. अब how we have to write down the row 2 elements? कुछ चेंज किया रो 2 में? कुछ चेंज नहीं किया. तो जैसे है वैसे लिखेंगे. रो सिर्फ चेंज किसमें क्या था? रो 1 में. तो रो 2 के एलिमेंट सेम ही रहेंगे 8 9 c 2 b 2. वही सेम चीज यहाँ पे कर रहा है. ठीक है, समझ में आ रहा है? तो 10 पे व्हाट विल गेट हियर? थर्ड एलिमेंट 600 प्लस डायरेक्टली हम इंटीग्रेट नाउ 600 प्लस 20 प्लस c 2 मल्टीप्लाई 20 एंड प्लस c एंड देन हमारे बोलो रो 3 में क्या आएंगे एलिमेंट्स कौन से आएंगे? इन रो 3 we are using operation in row 2 only. तो रो 3 के एलिमेंट्स कैसे होंगे? सेम 2 b 2 correct. 2 b 2. And now I hope that all of you can see one thing. that in row 2, this element, this whole thing, 100 plus 20 plus 8 is here.
Yes. Yes.
And this is what? A to 8, A to 8, right? And A to 8 is equal to what? N1K. So we can replace this whole thing with N1K. So this is element of C A 3, 6, N1K. And similarly, second element is what? N2K. And this is N3K. And same 2B2. और अब I go अब तो सब कर सकते हैं ना इसको, we can solve it, right? Now what we need to do? We just need to take k count from row 2. तो जैसे row 2 से k common लिया तो we are left with जो भी कुछ आएगा तो लिख दूंगे यहाँ पे same, right? And then we can say that clearly this whole thing is divisible by k क्योंकि k इसमें एक मल्टीपल आ गया, एक फैक्टर आ गया. Understood?
Yes.
Okay. नोट कर लो, कॉपी कर लो, इसका ऐसे बैठना नहीं है. करते हो. Jasim, Sadan, Safwan is there. Guys, am I audible? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Noted.
R is absent and Danish, Afnan is also absent. Hamad is there. Harshida, Saifuddin is there. Jasim is there.
Yes, sir.
Manha is there. Azim, Saaduddin is Saad.
Yes, sir.
Pranav, Rashid, Bharat, Safwan is there.
Yes, sir.
Neeraj, Shaheen, Shayan is there. Suraj and Varad. Safwan, I think you were absent in the last few classes, right?
Yes, sir.
Why? Okay.
Sir, I was absent.
Okay, now you will be regular, right? Safwan.
Yes, sir.
Okay, guys. If you see next question, in this question actually we need to prove that this is equal to 4ABC. This is equal to 4ABC, right? Now this question, you can use some elementary operations, you can use some properties here, but at the end you need to expand it. So what we are going to do, that we can create maximum number of zeros and then we can expand it, right? Fine. So ये property हमेशा याद रखना. Whenever we need to expand any determinant, then we first will, using elementary operations, will create maximum number of zeros in any row or any column. Then only we'll expand it. It will be very easy, right? Calculation mistake नहीं हुआ कभी. ठीक है. But in this question, I just want to tell you one thing, that whenever you are getting this type of questions, this type of questions you can see in JEE mains also. And the question will be like that, instead of giving 4 here, they won't give you 4 here, this number, and they will give you, let's say, some k lambda, something like this, k. And then they will ask you that find out value of k. Okay. So, and then they will give four options like 1, 2, 3, 4. Which option is correct? Okay. Yes or no? So whenever this type of questions you are getting, when we need to find out value of some scalar, both the sides are equal, right? So always remember this trick. Trick is Now we are not going to use any concept of, you can say, means don't think about properties, don't think about elementary operation. क्या करना है वो मैं बताता हूँ. So not only in determinants, in throughout the mathematics, whenever both the sides are equal, one equation is given and we need to find out value of scalar. In vectors also we are going to use the same thing a lot of times. Okay, and what is that? Achha, I hope that in quadratic all of you know it. Let's suppose if I'm writing any equation like this, x square or ax square plus bx plus c equals 0, and I'm saying that the roots of this equation are alpha and beta. Okay, so now tell me, if this is given to you, so can I write like this also, ax square plus bx plus c equals x minus alpha into x minus beta? Is it correct? No, it's not correct. What we need to add in this, we need to add a also here. Why? Because if you see coefficient on the left hand side, coefficient on, so basically you know that now we have transformed this equation into identity, like x plus a whole square or a plus b whole square. So whenever we are talking about identity, a plus b whole square, or let's suppose x plus 1 whole square, x plus 1 whole square, so we know it is x square plus 2x plus 1. अब देखने में तो you can say it is looking like a quadratic equation, right? But actually what is this? It is identity. How we can say this this is an identity? The reason is that this is going to satisfy all the values of x. You can substitute any value of x on both the sides. Anyways, both the sides are going to be equal. Though, if it's a quadratic equation, right, then it should have only two zeros or two roots. But here, so you can take any value of x, both the sides will be equal. So all are zeros, right? We will get infinite zeros for this, roots for this. So whenever for any quadratic, any cubic, any biquadratic, we are getting infinite zeros, then that equation will become identity. Understood? And identity में दोनों साइड हमेशा इक्वल आएंगे. अगर दोनों साइड इक्वल आएंगे, राइट, तो means coefficients of both the sides of all the terms should be equal. Yes or no? So the same thing you can apply here also. Now this has become identity. Now you can take any value of x both the sides and it is going to satisfy. First thing. Now if you see, when we are talking about identity, then the coefficient of x square this side is a and this side it is, earlier it was x into x square only, means 1. So we need to make ax square. That's why we need to multiply by a. Understood? Okay. So whenever identity is given, right? Whenever identity is given, can we consider this whole thing also as identity? In place of x or y, they have given a and b. We can consider a and b as variables. And now we need to find out value of k. So what I'm trying to say is that instead of simplifying this whole thing in terms of a and b, because we know that this is also an identity, both the sides are equal anyways, right? And we need to find out value of this scalar k. So what we are going to do is that instead of solving in terms of ABC, अच्छा एक और चीज, you know that in this identity, both the sides will be equal every time, except what? When you are taking x equals alpha. If you are taking x equals alpha, right, then what will happen? When x equals alpha, this side will become 0. Okay, this side will become 0. It means what? That in that case we cannot, let's suppose this term is 0, so this whole thing is 0. Now doesn't matter whether a is given or not. Even if a is not given, then also it is going to satisfy it, right? So my point is that whenever identity is given, so we need to ignore those values for which any side is becoming 0. Except those values, you can take any value of x. So if there is an identity, we will not take value of x for which any side is becoming 0. Why? Because in that case, we can't compare coefficients on both the sides. That's why we need to ignore that value. So except that value, you can take any value of x and then satisfy the identity and compare both the sides. You can find value of scalar k or lambda जो भी है. Understood? So in this, let's suppose now, so instead of calculating this whole thing in terms of ABC, I'm taking some values, numerical values. So what do you think? Can I take A equals 0? No, because if we are taking A equals 0, then this will become 0. We can't find value of K in that case. Understood? B also we can take 0, C also we can take 0. Now except ABC equals 0, now we'll take values which are very means convenient for us to solve. So now you tell me what values we should take instead of we should take values of ABC. We can take any value of ABC, even if you can take 0 also, but in that case both the sides will be 0. We can't find value of K, so that is not going to help us. But now I'm asking that except 0, what we should take for A, B and C numerical value, so that if we are substituting values here, and we can easily simplify it. So now one approach is that we can take A, B and C equal to 1, correct? So you can take all are equal. That means it is not given in question na, that A, B, C are equal or not. Sometimes in question they will give you that provided A, consider A is not equal to B is not equal to C. So tab to तीनों को we can't take 1. So in that case what you can take? You can take like A equals 1, B equals -1, C equals 2, something like that. But in this question it is not given. So we can take A equals 1, 1, 1, right? This also you can do. So anyways, or like you can take A equals 1, B equals 1 and C equals -1. It's up to you. So let's suppose we are taking A equals 1, B equals 1, C equals -1. Why -1? Because if you take C equals -1, then substitute here. And if you see what it is, what it will become? B plus C. B plus C will be 0. First element will be 0 directly. Then 1 and 1. In second row, B is what? 1. And C plus A will be 0. And third, this will be 1. And then C will be, no, it is 0. Sorry, -1. -1 and 2. And this side on the right hand side, what will get? K equals ABC. K equals ABC. So -1, right? 1 into -1, it will be minus K. Minus K, right? And further, you can use now elementary operation in there. What is that? You can just add in row 2. You can use this operation in row 2, that row 2 plus row 3. Now what will happen if you add these two? Means in row 2 we are adding row 3 na, so 1 minus 1 will become 0. So in first column we'll have two elements 0, or you can say in second row we'll have, no, in second row so we won't have, in first column we'll have two elements 0. Just now expand it along with the first column, and you are left with only this element here, and 1 minus whatever you will get, that will be equal to 4. कैसे? अरे यहाँ पे सब्स्टिट्यूट करो, रुको, तो क्या होगा देखते हैं. If you see here, so what we get 0, then 1 is the right. So 1 minus 1 0, and this will be -1. Then first row, we are not doing anything in first row, right? So 1 and 1. In second row, 0 minus 1, it will be -1, right? And then what will get here? 3, and then -1 and 2. Now and this is equal to minus K, correct? Now expand this along with the first column. So if I expand this along with the first column, so only we'll get this element, that is -1, and then determinant of these four elements, 3 minus -1 equals minus K. And now if you simplify it, so what we'll get? -4 equals minus K. It implies K equals 4. So this trick you should use. Can we expand from what? From 0 to we are expanding, na? First term we started with this only 0, then 0, but 0 into anything will be 0. First term will be 0. Similarly, second term will also be 0. Now third term, okay? समझ नहीं आया? So what you need to remember is that whenever we are given any question like this and we need to find out value of a scalar, in that case we'll use concept of identity. Instead of solving in terms of ABC, we'll assign some values and then simplify it. ठीक है? Understood? Just copy it if you want. Note it. Done? Done? Okay. Now this question, class. अच्छा अभी तक मैंने जितने क्वेश्चन करे वो टफ थे क्या? They were tough. No. Easy only ना हम moderate you can say, but means after simplifying it, हाँ ये थोड़ा सा you can say tricky, but this is okay. Now, okay. Now this question, if you see, ऐसा लग रहा है पता नहीं कितना factorial. I hope all of you know the properties of factorial. Factorial, so you know, right? What is the meaning of n factorial? How will you define n factorial? n factors, कुछ भी. n factorial is multiplication of all the natural numbers from 1 to n. Another definition is n factorial means that it's the arrangement of n objects and different objects at n different places. ठीक है? Okay. In this, if I'll ask you guys that can we convert this row, this column to in terms of column 1? So हाँ फिर से बोलो क्या बोल रहे हो? From first we can take n factorial common. Correct. Then second one we can take n plus 1 factorial. Okay. Quiet now, all of you just quiet. अब इधर देखो. I hope that all of you know this property n factorial is equal to n into n minus 1 factorial. Like 5 factorial. How we going to write it? 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. And if you see from 4 into 3 into 2 into 1, we can write this as 4 factorial. Yes or no? Yes. So if you see clearly in the second column, can we take, or if you write this n plus 1 factorial, can we write like this? Okay, let it be n plus 1 factorial. But in second, this term, can we write like this? N plus 2 into n plus 1 factorial. Yes or no? N plus 2 into n plus 1 factorial. And similarly, we can take here from n plus 3. Then 1 less 3. 1 less 3 will be n plus 2. Then we are left with n plus 1 factorial. Now, if you see from second column, we can take n plus 1 factorial common. Yes or no? From first column, we can take n factorial common. From third one, we can take n plus 2 factorial common, right? But if we are taking n plus 1 factorial common, all these things commons, how they're going to help us? हाँ बोलो. instead of this now, what you should, how you should think now, instead of this, instead of taking n plus 1 factorial common from second column, right, take n factorial common from first row. From second row also what we can take common, n plus 1 factorial. From third row we can take n plus 2 factorial common. But anyways it will be same thing only. It will be same only. You can chalo ठीक है. So can I write now d, we can write like, let's suppose we are taking n factorial common from, you want to take from first row or first column, first column, right? So if you are taking from first column, then we are left with 1 here, and here it will be n plus 1, here it is n plus 2 into n plus 1. ये कितने लोगों को समझ में आया क्या किया अब? n plus 1 we can write as n plus 1 multiplied by n factorial, and this term we can write as n plus 2 multiplied by n plus 1 into n factorial. And now if you see n factorial is here, here and here, we can take n factorial outside because it's common in all the three elements of first column. Now then we are left with, when you take n factorial common, so 1 n plus 1 n plus 2 into n plus 1. Understood? Huh? Similarly, we can take n plus 1 common from, n plus 1 factorial common from second column. Yes or no? यार क्या कर रहे हो तुम लोग, ऐसे करोगे तो कैसे काम? n factorial common, then n plus 1 factorial common, and then n plus 2 factorial common. So from second column we have taken n plus 1 factorial common, so we are left with what? N factorial. When we take n plus 1 factorial common, so it will be 1. Then in second, here n plus 2 only, and it will be n plus 3. In column 3, 1 into n plus 2, because we are taking n plus 1 common. Correct. So we are skipping one step in this. From n plus 2 we are taking n plus 2 common, right, from column 3. So प्रणव बताओ क्या बचेगा? हाँ, then n plus 3, and then n plus 4 into n plus 3. Okay, this also we can simplify, like it is n factorial, then taking n plus 1 outside will be n factorial, then taking n plus 2 into n plus 1 outside will be n factorial. Are you समझ में? Now the question is that how we can simplify this thing, how we should simplify this whole thing. Okay, so now we are using this property in, you can say, row 3. In row 3 the property is that row 3 minus row 2. Now you tell me guys what we'll get. So d, I'm simplifying all these three terms, right? N factorial, taking n plus 1 outside we are left with n factorial, taking n plus 2 into n plus 1 outside we are left with n factorial. So n factorial, n factorial, n factorial, it will be n factorial cube, n factorial cube. Can you see here in the question? N factorial cube. Okay, and then we are left with what? N plus 1 from the second one, and n plus 2 into n plus 1 from the third one. And using this elementary operation, now what we are going to get inside determinant, we are using operation in which row? In row 3. So the elements of row 1 and 2 will be same, 1 1 1, n plus 1, n plus 2, n plus 3. But in second, now we are subtracting n plus 1 from this one, so what will get? We need to subtract n plus 1 from this one, so we are left with what? फिर से बोलो. हाँ, n plus 2 minus 1 into n plus 1. Correct. So basically it will be n plus 1 into n plus 1, n plus 1 into n. कुछ लोग ऐसा मत कर देना that we are subtracting n plus 1 from this, so we are left with n plus 2. अरे कुछ है हमारे पास लेजेंड है, कुछ कर देंगे, वो ऐसे लिख देंगे. n प्लस, समझ में आ रहा है ना? अरे यार सिंपल सा, ये तो सिंप्लीफाई करना है अपने को, राइट? सो व्हाट वी नीड टू डू इज, देखो द क्वेश्चन इज लाइक वी नीड टू सब्ट्रैक्ट n प्लस वन फ्रॉम दिस टर्म। एक बार सॉल्व करो फिर बाकी डायरेक्ट लिख देंगे। n प्लस टू, so this element is n plus 2 into n plus 1 and we need to subtract what, n plus 1। ये करना है इसको, इधर च्युइंगम चबाता रहता है, इधर देख, n plus 1, राइट? ये करना है अपने को सॉल्व। नाउ हाउ वी हैव टू सॉल्व दिस होल थिंग? बहुत सिंपल है, कॉमन ले लेंगे ना, वी कैन टेक कॉमन, टेक n plus 1 कॉमन। अब इसको मल्टीप्लाई करने मत बैठ जाना, दैट फर्स्ट विल मल्टीप्लाई एंड देन सब्ट्रैक्ट। सो कॉमन, टेक कॉमन n plus 1 and then we are left with n plus 2 minus 1 because this whole thing we have taken common, so minus 1, and now we are left with n plus 1 into n plus 1, 2 minus 1 is 1 only, right? So this is n plus 1 whole square। अब ये तो सही है, ठीक है? अब हमें, ठीक है, तो नीरज now you tell me what will get here at the second place, n plus 2 whole square, पक्का? Now we'll take n plus 2 common, right? So once you take n plus 2 common, so we're left with n plus 3 minus 1, so n plus 2. And third place, n plus 3 whole square. N plus 3 whole square. Okay. Now how we can simplify it further? Actually what we need to find out, we need to find out d divided by n factorial cube minus 4। अच्छा एक चीज और कर सकते हैं ना, we can do one more thing guys, we can do one more thing। What is that? We can create two zeros। Now we can create two zeros, right? So how we are going to create two zeros? Again we need to use one operation. What is that? Elementary operation। What is that? In row 1, no, in not in row 1, column, correct, C1। in C1 you can make this element 0। how? C1 minus C2, and similarly you can use in C2 also, C2 minus C3। okay, so maximum, also remember guys that when we are using any elementary operation na, the number of elementary operations will always be one less than the number of order, or you can say order of the determinant। if it is 3, then maximum operation we can use at a time will be 2। so now tell me what we get here। so transpose this n cube this side, so we'll get d over n factorial cube equals, now just leave it like this, n plus 1 into n plus 1 whole square into n plus 2, and now determinant what we'll get here, 1 minus 1 0, this minus this will be minus of 1, this minus this कितना होगा बताओ? हाँ, it's like a plus b into a minus b, so 2n plus 3, yes or no? 2n plus 3 multiplied by what? A minus b, a minus b will be minus 1, so this is minus of 2n plus 3। बोलो यार क्या कर रहे हो? लास्ट वन देखो, वी आर यूजिंग c1 minus c2, right? so if you want to simplify this term, this element, so c1 is n plus 1 whole square minus c2 will be n plus 2 whole square। it's like a square minus b square, so identity a plus b into a minus b। if you add these two we'll get 2n plus 3, if you subtract these two we'll get minus 1, ठीक है? and then it will be like 0 minus 1, what else we'll get? so 2n plus 5 into minus this, and then 1 n plus 3, and then n plus 3 whole square। Now expand this along the first row. तो first row पे expand करेंगे तो we need to hide this column and this row. So we are left with d over n factorial cube equals n plus 1 whole square into n plus 2, and it is plus 1, 0 into 0. Okay, what was the question? We need to prove something, no? What was the question? That this whole thing is divisible by n. We are expanding by row 1, correct? Array, correct. So we need to hide this row and this column, right? So now we are left with plus 1 multiplied by minus will be plus, so 2n plus 5 minus of what? Minus of 2n minus 3, right? And now if you simplify it further, so n plus 2 as it is, n plus 1 whole square, and then 2n will get cancelled out, 5 minus 3 will be 2. Yes or no? Yes. Huh? 5 minus 3 will be 2 only, right? So it is d over this whole thing. And now we need to subtract 4 also. We are subtracting 4 from this. क्या? अरे रुको यार. If we are actually, you know what we need to do? If you see the question is like, question गलत नहीं है. Question गलत नहीं. Question is like, हमारी कैलकुलेशन में क्या गलती हुई है कि this whole thing should be divisible by n. तो अगेन ये पहले ऐसा क्वेश्चन आ गया. Starting with the first question we did, right? That divisible by k. So in the final answer, n should be common from all the terms. n multiplied something we should get, and then we'll see that this whole thing is divided by n. ठीक है, एक बार इसको ट्राई करना, अदरवाइज we'll discuss in next class. कहीं तो कैलकुलेशन मिस्टेक करना पड़ा. नहीं ट्राई करोगे? करो यार, ट्राई करना है इसको एक बार. ठीक है. टाइम हो गया क्या? अच्छा, you know what class, in this na here only what you need to do now, just simplify, multiply all the three brackets, right? N plus 2 whole square, all these things, and then again you will get a again you just quadratic and some expression you will get, and then from that expression you can take n common, n into something you will get. It means this whole thing is divisible by n. Try करना एक बार. चलो ठीक है guys, bye and try to solve. अभी क्लास कब है तुम्हारी? नेक्स्ट क्लास मैथ्स की ट्यूसडे. टाइम तो है तुम्हारे पास. आई विल शेयर फ्यू क्वेश्चंस आल्सो. ओके, चलो ठीक है, बाय गाइस, बाय. Only 3-4 questions.